Internet radio.
Do I need to be?
It's all good. Welcome back to the Morning Howl. It is General Manager Deshaun in here with KH, Program Director Chris Adamson, and we're having a great, fantastic time. I'm excited for this next guest. His name is Winn. How are you this morning?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I am awesome. Former student here, Mass Comm student, and now alumni.
Yep.
So it's I'm in your company, and I feel honored.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much for having me. It's like coming home, so it's really cool.
Good. Hopefully it wasn't too big of a difference coming back to campus. You said I had to help you with directions, and you're like, everything's changed.
Well, you know what's funny is it's like everything is different, yet it remains the same. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like a weird sequencing of memories and still images. So parts of it are so familiar that it's almost scary, and then some of it's so unfamiliar that it has this kind of weird aura about it. But like sitting here in the radio station is really surreal because this is one of the places where we used to hang out and talk about stories. And when we were doing the show, insert title here, back in the 90s, at the TV station, we'd write a lot of the episodes and talk about all this stuff here. And as a matter of fact, this may be off topic a little bit. But,
no, it's all good.
One of my insert title here existed before I knew the guys. They had done an episode, and I found out that this was going on, and I kind of woke up one day and wanted to be a director. And so I was like, well, I'm in Carrollton. I guess I need to find something to direct. And so it just serendipitously, I think we had our first meeting about the show in that room right there. So it's like it's all kind of coming back in these weird clips.
Awesome.
But yeah, I spent a lot of time in here.
He was, if you're watching on Ustream and just on the radio, he was pointing into our band room. This is where we do bands for one of our other shows. And then you mentioned, too, your first script.
Yeah.
Was written in what is our offices now, what used to be the offices then.
Yeah, Kevin was the guy. I think he used to work for
Kevin
GP.
Sanders.
Yeah, Kevin Sanders.
Yeah.
And his office is where they wrote the scripts because they had the screenwriting program was on the computer there. I mean, it was very antiquated from what you have now, but a lot of writing took place in his office, and so it was fun. And then, you know, we had a couple of scoldings in his office and Art's office at the TV station as well for some of the things that we did, but it all worked out.
I think we've had the same thing here happen before. It's all good. It's
hey,
all
if
good.
you're not getting in trouble, you're not trying hard enough.
There you go. And you're not trying.
Pushing the envelope, then what's the point?
Agreed. Got it. Yes. So you just kind of woke up one day and wanted to be a director.
Yeah, it was weird. I was a student here, and I was actually a psychology student. And I'd always been in rock and roll bands growing up in high school, and you know, played the Rec Room and Masquerade, and you know, some of the Somber Reptile venues, and kind of was going down that path. And then decided that I wanted to go to college for a degree. I thought that was a good idea. Came here, had a great time, and then about, I guess, first quarter into my sophomore year, literally just woke up one day and said, I want to be a filmmaker. And I don't know how or where this is coming from, and I don't know what I need to do to make it happen, but it was literally like one day I wasn't a filmmaker, and then the next day for the rest of my life I'm a filmmaker. And it was literally that clear. And then once that kind of epiphany happened, I realized that there was a TV station here, and then kind of put myself out there and had the meeting in that room right there. It kind of changed everything. It was weird. I don't know if this is off topic, but you know, going here was they had gear, and if you had the drive, and if you had, you know, a vision similar to what you guys have done with the radio and turn it around, it just, I think West Georgia in general encourages that kind of creativity and that kind of freedom, and they give you enough rope to hang yourself, which is, I think, is good. So,
and sometimes we do.
And sometimes we do.
We are doing it this semester for sure.
Yeah, so it's just a great, you know, hands-on experience. I mean, I learned to be a filmmaker in this town here. This is every trick of the trade that I used today, I learned here.
What were some of your favorite shooting locations here and around Carrollton?
I don't know if
you had any.
I've got a couple of funny stories. I don't know.
We can do a couple, yeah.
Yeah,
let's do it.
I don't know. One of the very first things that we did is we were in the TV station, and we were working on episode 3 of the show, insert title here, and it was the premise for the segment was Mauled by Bear.
Okay.
I don't know if you've heard this or not.
No, I kept thinking, why does insert title here sound so familiar? And when we originally cleaned out this place, it was so packed with stuff. I found scripts and stuff of insert. I may still have them in the thing. So before we go, we'll have to check it out and make sure.
Definitely. So the episode was called Mauled by Bear, and we were at the TV station. We're having a producers meeting. I don't really know, Sean and Brooks and Errol and the guys that are running the show. I'm the new guy.
Okay.
And they're like, well, we don't want to do this. This isn't going to work. We can't get a bear costume because we don't have any money. And I was like, hold on a second. So I go in the office and I make a phone call to Shoney's because they have a bear costume. And I say, hey, you guys want some free advertising? We're going to do a segment and we need a bear costume. And Shoney's said, sure, come pick it up. And so we ended up going. I just drove up to Shoney's, and they gave me the Shoney's bear costume.
Awesome.
For the show, and that's when they made me a producer, and they said, okay, this is great. Well, what was supposed to happen, as you know, I was supposed to cover up the Shoney's part, but I forgot the jacket that was big enough to wear in the Shoney's bear costume, and I was actually in the Shoney's bear costume. Okay. So we broke all kinds of laws doing this. The idea was they're a camping family, and this bear comes out, and so I was wearing the bear costume with Shoney's on it, which made it even more funny, and we cut it to Master of Puppets. So that's totally illegal.
Oh, no.
And so it was like, me beating this guy up in the Shoney's bear costume to the point where, like, I tied him to the back of my car, and so I'm driving like a Ford Taurus in the Shoney's bear costume over there by the athletic fields just in the woods. And so sometimes it airs. And, sometimes the sound worked and sometimes it didn't. That was popular. And we got a call one day to come into the office, and Shoney's had threatened to sue the school because of what we did. And so there's somewhere in the archives is whatever the paper is around here, I can't remember, but there's a front page picture of the Shoney's bear. And it's a picture of a Shoney's bear sitting on like a thing, and it just talks about how we irresponsibly used the Shoney's bear, and that the school was threatened to get sued. And so we had to say we were sorry, which we got slapped on the hand. Don't do that.
Right.
But it was fun.
That was awesome.
Yeah, it was fun.
Enough rope to hang yourself, as they say.
Exactly. So we shot in and around here at the mill down in Whitesburg. We shot at Corner Cafe a bunch of times. All the movies played at either the Corner Cafe or the Mansion. I don't know if that's still here.
The Mansion is closed. Corner Cafe still do it.
Yeah. Yep. So, it was all just grab a Super VHS camera and try and tell a story.
So that kind of leads into director, and we'll get right to the Fat Boy Chronicles in a second. How is it transitioning to all these new technologies? I bet it makes life 1,000 times easier.
Coming out of school was tough because I was on the cusp of the change of technology anyways, and so we were doing reel-to-reel and tape-to-tape in 99 when I left. And Final Cut Pro, I think, came out in 2000, 2001-ish. And so I just kind of took it upon myself to say I got to survive or die. Yeah. And so kind of taught myself the technology and try to keep up with it and read the industry magazines and do things like that. But as far as where technology has gone, I think it's leveled the playing field in a good way and a bad way. I think that YouTube's fantastic. I think that, the Vimeo channels give filmmakers a chance, the flip phones and all the different cameras, different ways of telling stories. But I think the thing that not to forget is that story is king. And I think, writing a good script is where it all starts.
And that's what I feel that you've done with Fatboy Chronicles. We were talking off air. You can pick it up at any Redbox here in Carrollton that we know of for sure. I don't know where other Redbox in
Hawaii to Alaska, all over.
Okay.
Yeah.
It is, but it is out. I passed 3 on my direct trip home, and I couldn't find it. It is out. So the Fat Boy Chronicles. Tell us a little bit about how this project started.
The Fat Boy Chronicles was first a novel that I read the manuscript in, I think it was like 2007. Before the book had been published, and we were actually trying to raise money for another project called Treasure of the Four Lions, which is like a Goonies meets Stand By Me film, but it's a bigger budget, so it's $4 or $5 million picture, which is hard to raise money, and then the economy tanked, and so we were kind of left holding the bag, but we had a little bit of money, and so we said, what would be something that we could do around the budget range that we need to, that would be fun. And we said, well, what about the Fat Boy Chronicles? And so that was really it. It wasn't like we set out to make a film about bullying or obesity. I mean, all those things were within the story, but it wasn't like we got together in a room and focus grouped what was going to be the hot issues 2 years from now. It just serendipitously worked out. I just wanted to tell a good story.
And that's actually, as I see in the interview, fate has you well on your path, because that worked out really well. The fact that you did the Fat Boy Chronicles is an issue, and we were talking about this. It's an issue that is current right now: bullying, obesity,
all of the above.
All of the above. And basically, the Fat Boy Chronicles. What is his name? Jimmy Winterpock. He's 14, 5'5", and weighs 187 pounds. And the summary that you can find on IMDb, and I think we've posted it plenty of times to our Facebooks and Twitters. Outside the comfort of his family and church, life for Jimmy is a constant struggle. The cruel taunts of his classmates make going to school or playing sports a humiliating experience. Yet he still manages to focus on his goals, to lose weight, and win over the girl of his dreams. So tell us about the filmmaking, working with the actors, and how you got the emotions to really play on screen.
One of the things that I ask of all my actors in any project is that there's a trust between the director and actor relationship. It is definitely a relationship. And a good actor has to trust you completely, even if they disagree with you. And that is sometimes a tough thing for directors and actors to do. And part of my job is to build that trust. One of the things that I talked to Christopher Rivera, who plays Jimmy, and Kelly Lynn Washington, who plays Sable, is I said, I'm going to push you to your breaking point, and you're going to crack. And then when you're on the ground crying and screaming, I'm going to ask for more. And I just need you to find it somewhere and let that happen. I mean, and one of the things I can say that Christopher Rivera gave an honest performance every single day, and all the actors did. And nobody phoned it in. Everybody came to work prepared and did a great job. And Chris, especially because, it was emotional for him. I mean, he was the one that was being bullied and some of the things. Just a real quick, from a performance standpoint, the writing was good, and we were pushing the actors. One time when Jimmy gets locked out of the locker room, we just had extras in there holding the door while Jimmy is beating on the door. I'm laying down just out of frame of camera, and I'm just keep slamming him into the door. And by the time we were done, we said cut, and we were just like, all right, let's move on to the next scene. Chris is all emotionally spent, but we opened the door, and the actors behind there were just kind of wrecked because they realized what the intensity was.
Wow.
Like you think as kids, and I think even as adults, you would play a prank on somebody, or if sometimes when you take it too far. But there becomes a point of no return where you can't take back what's done. And a betrayal like that in that scene, everybody was vested in it emotionally, whether they were on camera or not. And I thought that was really interesting to just kind of see that almost social experiment really pushed everybody to the breaking point.
Even your extras were
they were teary. Yeah, it was weird. And all they did was hold the door.
Yeah.
But I think the weight of what was going on kind of set the tone. So
now Kelly Washington plays Sable Moore, which is I guess the crush that Jimmy Winterpock has, and kind of isn't that the catalyst besides the bullying that helps set his goals, that push and motivation?
Yes, I mean, as a man, that we do all kinds of silly things for women. I think it was twofold, his catalyst. He says in the film, I'm sick of being fat and having everybody make fun of me. And then I think he's on his journey, he's trying to discover who he really is. And, he sees that she's somewhat of an outsider, and they're somewhat drawn together in that. And so I think he's trying to figure out how to get, to ask her out and do those things. So she definitely did a great job. She, the character is complex. There's some, it's so funny. Kelly is nowhere remotely like the character of Sable. And, she gothed up and she was a cutter, and she went to places emotionally in the film that she needed to go. and it's interesting to see her as a person and not as Sable, because
Totally different.
They're so different. And one time they were in Maryland, and somebody had seen the film and read the book, and they had written, they were so excited to see Sable, this girl that was, I guess, a cutter and having some of those issues, and she was on the mending end of it. And when she saw Kelly, she was so disappointed.
Oh, no.
Because she's like, here's this bubbly blonde who's, just
Happy
really
with life,
Yeah,
yeah.
happy with life and kind of making her own way. And so Kelly got to have some one-on-one time with her, but it was bizarre. I mean, like, she had like drawn her a picture. I mean, it's really interesting to see how people that you don't know connect to it, and connect to the actors especially. So that's been very humbling.
So the Fat Boy Chronicles is out in Redbox everywhere.
Blockbuster, Walmart.
Oh, so you can purchase it? How much?
Oh yeah. You know what? I don't know what it's going to end up being. I know that it'll be in Walmart probably in the next 7 days, but it'll be in Walmart across the nation.
Okay, cool.
I wonder if the Blockbuster here in Carrollton has it, because they started liquidation yesterday. Maybe they got it in right before they started.
Oh, that's true. Our Redbox here in Carrollton's closing, the final
Blockbuster, dude.
I said Walmart.
You said
Blockbuster.
Redbox.
Oh, Blockbuster is closing here, so maybe we can go find it there. I'm trying to think of the question I just had in my mind. For the Fat Boy Chronicles, did it push you emotionally or physically as a director?
Yes. To answer that question simply, this was my first big picture. I had directed some national commercials, but up until the film, this was the biggest thing I'd done. I mean, I did a short where we had some bombs and stuff, and it won a bunch of awards, and that was awesome.
That was the Silver Bullet, I think?
The Last Bullet.
The Last Bullet, sorry.
Yeah, and that was cool, but nothing like this. I mean, it was 5 days on and 2 days off for the crew, but as a director, you end up working, the whole time, every day. The DP, Jeremy Osborne, and I would walk locations on our days off and block stuff out and talk about it. It was the hardest thing I've ever done in my life, and every project is that way. It's so interesting. It's kind of like being the captain of a pirate ship, especially making a low-budget film, because at any minute everybody could mutiny and then the movie goes away. And so you're just trying to get through your days and get to the end of the production so that you can have what's in the can. We were robbed twice.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep. And we got our stuff back. One time you do strange things. When I say it's kind of this manic, I'm not going to be defeated kind of attitude. Jumped on a bicycle and drove into the ghetto looking for our gear and found it.
Wow.
And called the police, and we all kind of surrounded the house. And we're saying, we want our gear back. I mean, literally, there was like director's chairs with my name on it and like gear stacked up, but it was like all our gear. It was like everything but the camera. It was just stacks and stacks of Pelican cases, and they were ready to like go sell it. And so it was just, and the police were like, well, do you want to? I don't care. I don't want to put them in jail. I just want my stuff. So that was it. And we never missed a beat, and we're shooting. So all the exterior scenes of the house in the film, that's just Jeremy shooting that while I'm up the street in the ghetto with all the grips and everybody wrestling all our equipment back so that we could finish the day.
Wow, that's a stretch, man. Wow.
Yeah, but it's always like that.
Right.
I mean, you're constantly fighting everything.
How long was the shoot?
It was 24 days.
Wow.
Yeah,
so it took a long 24 days, a long month.
Yeah, it was. It was like I put my head down, and then it was September.
And then you still had to do post-production, all the music and stuff. Who was your music director?
Music supervisor is Kim Burgess, and she did amazing. I think we made a great film, but I think without the music, it wouldn't be what it is. And so hats off to Kim for all the hard work that she did. She went through literally thousands of CDs, and by the time we only put the music in one day. And so Mike Buchanan, co-producer and also one of the screenplay writer and author of the book, and I sat with Kim, and she had a stack of CDs, and she goes, I think this goes here, this goes here, this goes here, this goes here. And we literally sat and just moved stuff around. But had she not done all that work to try and narrow it down to the 10 or 20 songs that we used, it would have taken, it's just such a monument task. Right. And she's got such a great eye and ear for that. So
that's good. Who else on your crew? I know there's a lot of names, a lot of people that help. Any one specifically you want to give a shout out, big thank you to, at least here on the air?
Sure. Well, I think my first AD kept me on track, Matt Skinner. The first AD is kind of the foreman, making sure everything's moving forward so that I don't have to worry about cracking the whip on people. And he became my best friend and still continues to be a really great friend of mine, and I love him to death, and we laugh a lot. And it's so funny because it's like, you know, sometimes you feel like crying and you just have to laugh. I mean, making a film is an emotional experience, just aside from all the other traumas. And so you just kind of get in it and you just fight your way through everything. And the people that you're in the trench with become your brothers. And it's interesting to see that bond form as you both, you know, everybody on the crew, this small army, sets out for this one task, this one goal, and it's a beautiful thing.
I'd agree. Just the few times I've been on certain sets, it is an amazing choreography, for sure. So we're about out of time. Anything else that you wanted to mention about that we may have not touched on about the movie and where you can get it? We basically said all the red boxes and should be out in Walmarts nationwide by the end of the week.
Yeah, that's what we're looking at. Walmart, and Redbox, Blockbuster, iTunes. Any way you get movies, YouTube, I think, rents it. So it's out there nationwide. Yeah, if you just Google the Fat Boy Chronicles, you can find it.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to continue to look for it. I will watch it, and I will let you know via email what I thought, and hopefully good things will continue to happen for it. Your next project?
I got several things in development right now.
Okay.
So hopefully something will drop soon.
Okay.
So we've got, you know, I just finished up Paul Apparel and the Midnight Whistle, which is it was a short project, kind of a pet project I wanted to do before Fat Boy came out. And that was fun, and that's available now too, so you can look for that.
All right. Well, we'll keep in touch, and when the next project comes up, we'd love to have you back.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
Appreciate it. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll do more Twitter Tuesday.
Oh, boy.
Is that going to make you feel better?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know, but this next one goes out to our buddy Seth. It's Garth Brooks, Friends in Low Places.
Appreciate it.